What is up, everybody? Roman here. Today is a little bit of a different video, something that I've never done before in this channel, but I want to go through and rank the teams in one of the leagues that I really like to watch, and that is the Flock League, probably the biggest league on YouTube. They're pretty much becoming mainstream as of now. They're really big. The views that they get is ridiculous, but it's a really fun and entertaining league. I discovered them back in their first season of doing it. I was just kind of scrolling through YouTube and I stumbled upon them, fell in love with the league, thought it was super entertaining, and I've been watching it ever since. And I only started my channel about a month ago. I also want to say thank you to everybody that subscribed, that comments, likes on the videos. The growth that we've had in a month is absolutely crazy. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. So if you could subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. And watch out for future fantasy content. But again, I just want to go through and kind of rank the teams from the worst to the best. And again, this isn't to hate on anybody. This is just a fun video idea that I thought would be pretty entertaining for myself as well as for you. Also, I want to say I'm not an expert. I'm not by any means this huge fantasy football genius. I love fantasy football. I've been playing it for years now. I've won, I've lost. I understand a thing or two about this. I'm more of a casual approach towards this. I don't go into this full-on analytics and stuff like that. I just approach it more casually. That's what my channel is all about. So that's essentially what you guys will see in this video. So again, this is just for fun, for entertainment. Don't take it to heart if I rank a team too low or something like that. But I appreciate y'all being here. And let's start off with team number 12. In my opinion, the worst team in the league this year. And that is going to be Rome. Rome, aka the Roman Empire. Really like that nickname because obviously I'm Roman and I've been told Roman Empire before, stuff like that. So it's a fun name. But fortunately, I think that Rome easily has the worst team in the league this year, mainly due to the fact that he avoided wide receiver up until round 6. Probably the biggest mistake that you can make, especially considering that their league, if I recall correctly, is 3 wide receivers start. If not, even then, they still have 2 flex spots. So you kind of want wide receiver, especially for the fact that it's full PPR. But instead, Rome decides to avoid wide receiver until round 6, and he takes a ton of running backs. I am a candidate for running backs early. I think that you should try to get a 2 running back start if you can. But I think that this was just a little bit too much in my opinion. We see with the 102 that he takes Bijan Robinson, which I think is an absolutely great take. I love Bijan. He's my personal 101. So him at the 102 for me is a bit of a steal. But then at the 211, he takes Jeremiah Love. In my opinion, I think he shouldn't have taken Jeremiah Love. I think he should have taken either a receiver here or a different running back, more productive. For me, Jeremiah Love is a player this year that I'm a bit out on due to the fact that he is a rookie in a team that is, first of all, not that great, but also has a running back committee. You have Tyler Algier as well as James Conner. Trey Benson, as of recording this video, has been released. So I am recording this a few days after the draft. I just wasn't able to make a video quickly as, you know, pretty busy nowadays. But I think that Jeremiah Love is going to be very limited in his role here on the Cardinals. He's going to have a receiving role in my opinion, but then goal line touches and stuff will probably go towards Tyler Algier, as well as Jeremiah is currently dealing with an injury of his own. He has a high ankle sprain. How long is he going to be out for? Is this going to be something that lingers throughout the season? I think it was not the smartest move, especially with the fact that he took Trey McBride at his 302. Pairing 2 skilled players on the same team, I think, is a big mistake early on, especially the Cardinals. Like, this is a team that is not that high powered. I understand he's a fan of the Cardinals and stuff like that, but you're playing for $100,000. You got to go for the guy that is better rather than for your favorite player from a favorite team or something like that, which is actually going to be a critique to a different team a little bit later. But then he goes DeAndre Swift, Travis Etienne, ATN, however you pronounce it. But I like these 2 players, DeAndre and Travis, but he needs a wide receiver at this point. You need somebody to take here, and he doesn't take wide receivers. He continues to solidify the running back room, and then his wide receiver 1 is Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Romeo Doubs, terrible in my opinion. Sutton, who even on his own team probably isn't going to be the wide receiver 1. I think it's going to be Jalen Waddle as your wide receiver 1 is not what you want. This is a super weak wide receiver room. Again, this is full PPR. You have DeAndre Swift, who isn't really a receiving back. You have Travis Achan, who himself does have a bit of receiving upside, but not as much as like a CMC or something. So he's really put himself in a pretty bad situation. On top of that, the cherry is he takes Brandon Aubrey at the 902. I love Brendan Aubrey. I think he's a really good kicker. I take him early in my drafts all the time, but I take him in the 12th, 13th round, not the 9th round. There's still so many options there with a ton of upside that could be productive for fantasy, but he avoids those and takes Aubrey. He then takes Stribling, Lane. Again, 2 wide receivers with definitely a pretty good amount of potential that could be productive, but they're more of upside shots. Nobody really to solidify your starting lineup with. Juwan Johnson, I think, is going to be a good tight end, but still, you already have Trey McBride. Take a tight end much later. You don't need a Juwan Johnson. Matt Stafford, Tyler Shough. Stafford's going to be good. I don't really know about Shough in terms of fantasy purposes. And then he takes Black for San Francisco, kind of like a backup to CMC if CMC goes down or something like that. So, I mean, overall, maybe he doesn't really play fantasy all that much or something like that, but it's a pretty bad team. It's easily one of the worst teams here. Yes, the running back room is decent, but even then, like, Jeremiah Love is my running back too. I'm not 100% like confident in that. DeAndre Swift and Travis I really like, but I mean, everything else is bad. I think it's a really bad team. I think that if he doesn't make some changes, doesn't make some trades, this is easily going to be a bottom team this year. So Rome is going to be my number 12. At number 11, I have Sammy and Danny. Danny last year loses the league. He gets a punishment. He has to be on a team with Sammy. People like Sammy. I like Sammy as well. So now they're paired up and they're on the same team. As of recording this video, I know that Justin Jefferson has been traded. I'm not going to take that into account. I'm going based off the team that they actually drafted and focusing on that. So ignore the trades and stuff that happened. This is just solely based off in the moment as they're drafting. They take Jay Jettas and Ashton Jeanty with their first 2 picks. I don't like Justin Jefferson this year. I just don't think that Kyler Murray is really going to make him a wide receiver one that is super elite. He's definitely going to improve from his 11.45 or whatever points he was scoring last year, maybe to like 14 or 15, but he's not going to be up there with the JSNs, Pukas, CDs scoring 17 plus points per game. I think they should have done double running back here. With Ashton Jeanty, they could have taken an Achane, they could have taken a Saquon, something else to pair them up with. Jeanty I really like. Obviously, I know he's injured now, but at the time, he's definitely a player you want to target. He's going to be really good this year. It's hard to say that knowing that he's injured, but not the best start, in my opinion, from them. On top of that, they take Colston Loveland. This is another my guy for Danny. He really likes Loveland, and I get it. Like, he's your guy and stuff like that, but like, this is a full PPR. You kind of need wide receivers. You need running backs. Those are the bigger positions, you know, that are filling up more spots. A tight end is something you can take much, much later, and it's still going to be productive for your team. But they take Loveland. I would have taken a wide receiver here. Obviously, the ideal start is 2 running backs and then wide receivers here, but they go for him. Then they take Waddle. I like Waddle. I think it's a fine pick. He's going to be pretty productive. He's going to be the wide receiver one in the Broncos. Then they take Carnell Tate, Jaylen Warren. Carnell Tate, I like him for my flex. I don't like him as my starting wide receiver. I like him for my flex because he has potential to be productive. The question is, will he actually be productive? From what I've seen in videos, he keeps dropping passes. There was like a stat that he hasn't caught a single ball in the preseason games or something like that. I don't know if that was true, but if it is true, that's not looking good for Carnell Tate as well. He's on the Titans, you know what I mean? It's not that productive of a team. They're still rebuilding. Not the best start. Jaylen Warren, I like. I think he's going to be good. He's a nice 12 to 13 points per game running back. If he gets a touchdown, he can be much higher. Jordan Mason, I think, will take over as the running back one at some point, so I'm fine with him as well. Caleb Williams, I think, is okay as well. 8th round, I think, is a pretty nice value for him and take. Travis Hunter, this is another player that I think was a reach. Again, I'm more of like casual. I will say that. Like, I do get pretty deep into fantasy, but I'm not crazy deep, so I don't know if there's something going on with Travis Hunter and why they took him in the 9th round. I don't know if he's like the wide receiver 2 on this team secretly, but from what I understand is that there's Parker Washington, Brian Thomas, as well as Jacoby Myers. Already 3 wide receivers that are competing for the wide receiver 1 spot. And then on top of that, Travis Hunter is going to be a cornerback this year as well. And originally they were reporting he's going to be a full-time cornerback, and they said he's going to be playing wide receiver. Why take Travis Hunter here? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't think he's going to be that productive. Are you counting on his pick sixes to be applied to his production or something? Like, how often is he going to be scoring them? I don't know. For me, it doesn't really make sense to take Travis Hunter here. I think it was a bit of a reach. I would have taken somebody else here, but again, it's not my team. Jonah Coleman, Bijan Robinson, Brian Robinson, Marshawn Lloyd, handicaps to their respective running back ones on their team. Jonah Coleman, probably my favorite. I don't think that Bijan is going to be getting injured. Jacobs probably could be getting injured at some point, as well as legal trouble, so Lloyd couldn't be too bad, but they're more of handicaps again. But again, at this point, you're kind of drafting more deeper players, handicaps. They take Flournoy at the 13-12. Again, wide receiver 3 on his team, maybe wide receiver 4. Tolbert is there as well. Like, I don't know. I don't really know, if I'm being honest. Los Angeles, the 14th pick, it's a fine defense. They're going to be pretty productive. And then Kayshon Boutte, actually a player that I like because as of now, he's on the Texans, and I think he will be the wide receiver 2, as well as Nico Collins. You know, he does deal with injury once in a while. He could be out, and Kayshon could be the wide receiver 1 there, probably competing with Tank Dell for that wide receiver 2 spot. So Kayshon is a good player that I like. But overall, I think this is a pretty weak team, I'm being honest. Knowing now that they have Kenneth Walker as well, it doesn't really boost this team. I don't like Kenneth Walker at all, but it's a weak team in my opinion. I think they need to make some trades, get some players, but I don't really know who you'd want to trade for. It might be trades later on in the season, but they are going to be my 11th place team. For 10th place, I have Sal Vetri. Sal was the winner last year, built an amazing team. It was really good, but this year, I think he kind of is going for a high upside team similar to what he did last year, but I think this is a really risky high upside team. You have Jahmyr Gibbs, who I think is a really good take. I think he's going to be super productive and super elite. Then you have Malik Nabers. I love Malik Nabers. I think he's good when he plays. It's a matter of will he actually play, when will he play, and how productive is he going to be under Jackson Dart. I think too many questions there, but again, you're banking on him starting week 1 and playing. If he doesn't start week 1, is he going to be out for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? He's going to be on the PUP list. You kind of need your wide receiver 1 to be playing, especially with the wide receivers he has after this. He takes Breece Hall at the 301. I would have taken a Pickens here. I would have taken an Olave to pair up with Nabers, knowing that I have a different wide receiver option. And then on the churn at the 412, I would have taken a Travis Etienne, Travis Achan or something like that, or a Swift, Judkins, whoever was available from my running back kind of 2 situation. But again, he goes for Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf. Terry McLaurin, if he's healthy and if Jaden Daniels is healthy, will be productive. He could probably average around 14, 15 points per game. Last year was pretty bad for them. And again, like, I'd rather avoid Terry McLaurin here. I like Mike Evans, but Mike Evans dealing with the injury currently and probably going to be dealing with this injury going into the season. We know Mike Evans. I think everybody loves Mike Evans. He's really good. He's super talented. He's fun to watch. But I mean, watching the videos of him playing right now, he looks a bit older. He's dealing with the injury. If he plays, he'll be decent. But if he doesn't play, which I'm guessing at some point he won't be playing for a pretty decent amount of time, it's a bit rough. Again, this is a player you need to be playing in your team, but if he's not available, it's tough. DK Metcalf, it's either going to be him or Michael Pittman that are the wide receiver 1 on the Steelers. It's kind of a toss-up, if I'm being honest, on who is going to be the true wide receiver 1. It could be DK 1 week, Pittman the other week. I don't think it's just, oh yeah, DK is the true wide receiver 1 there. Jaden Daniels, I like. I think in the 7th round, Jaden Daniels is a pretty good take there. The rushing upside, he has the ability to throw. If he can repeat his rookie year production, I think he's really good. But he's a skinny quarterback. Like, I'm being honest, Jaden Daniels, I get worried when he runs because if he gets hit wrong, I feel like he's going to shatter. And that's kind of like just a little bit of a worry. But obviously, when he does play, he is good. He just needs to stay healthy. Jaden Reed, I like Jaden Reed. I think that he's going to be the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. I think this is a pretty good take here. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, I think Rachaad White is the running back 1 on the team. When he's healthy, he's going to get the receiving role. Ja'Cory, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be that productive, if I'm being honest. I don't even think Rachaad White is going to be that productive. But it's an upside shot, I guess. Shakir, Shaheed, and Harris. Shakir, he's behind DJ Moore. Even when Shakir was the wide receiver 1 there, he wasn't that productive. Shaheed as well. Wasn't that productive in Seattle. Maybe this year, since he's going to be official in the team the whole season, he'll be a bit more productive. Not 100% sure, but that could be the case. Trey Harris, he's the wide receiver 3 in LA. I don't really think that they're going to be implementing him a whole lot. Maybe he'll get a touchdown once in a while and he'll get like a 10 to 15 points per game or something like that. But I think he's more of irrelevant compared to Quinton as well as Ladd. Blue and James, obviously the backups to their respectful running backs as well, handicaps. And then Brenton Strange for his tight end. Decent tight end. He has a bit of upside there, but obviously not one of the top tight ends. So Sal is going to be my 10th team. The potential is there if Nabers hits, if Breece Hall hits. It's going to be a pretty decent team, but if they don't hit, he's definitely going to be towards the bottom of the table. Number 9, I have Mason Flock, the owner of the Fantasy League. I love Mason. He's super entertaining, super fun to watch, but I do not love his team this year. He has Jonathan Taylor and Kenneth Walker to his first 2 picks. I like JT. I think if JT can bounce back like he did in the first couple weeks last year. This is a really good take. If stuff isn't going too well, he's going to be more of his floor around the 15 to 17 points per game range, but we know what he can do. He has the potential of averaging 23 plus if everything is going well. So I think JT is a good take in the first round. Kenneth Walker, I really don't like Kenneth Walker. Like, I love him as a character. He kind of reminds me of Nick Chubb, who's my personal favorite running back, but him as a player, like, he hasn't literally ever shown us that he's a running back one. There was, I think, one season 2 or 3 years ago where he had like 16 points per game. Apart from that, very mediocre performances for him, as well as injuries. I'm seeing the training camp footage. All that he's doing is literally fighting his teammates. Like, I have no like guarantee or certainty he's going to be good. So he's not a player that I like to take here in the second round. I would have taken a wide receiver if you don't like Kenneth Walker, a different running back, something, but not Kenneth Walker. Obviously, I know that he traded him away. He got Justin Jefferson, which I think is an improvement, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Kenneth Walker this year. Definitely somebody I would have avoided. He takes Chris Olave. I really like Olave, especially noting that Tyson is injured. I think Olave easily is going to be a super good wide receiver one this year, as long as he doesn't get injured. Again, Olave is a bit interesting because he has the concussion issues. He didn't suffer with that last year, but he definitely could this year. Anything can happen. I'm not wishing that again. Whenever I say somebody at some point could get injured or will get injured, I'm not wishing this upon them. I'm just saying that it could happen. You know what I mean? So Olave has that concern, but if he doesn't get injured, he's going to be really good this year. So I like him. Egbuka, same type of situation, should be the wide receiver one on Tampa, but watch out for Godwin. I really think Godwin could be pretty productive this year and take over as the wide receiver one at some point, especially with the fact that Egbuka is dealing with turf toe. Or whatever they call it, but his toe is messed up. And we saw what happened with Joe Burrow last year when he got that. He was out for a pretty good amount of time. So this can happen to Egbuka where he's out for randomly like a week or two, maybe longer. It's something to kind of think about as you're drafting Egbuka. There's other players that are going around him that I think are a bit better. But again, he takes Egbuka. The potential and upside is there. He's pretty good. Jameson Williams and Christian Watson, these are actually two players. I haven't released the video yet, but I made a video about players to not draft this year, and the two of them are on here for round 5 and round 6. I think that Jameson is more of a fraud type of player. He's boomer bust when Laporta is healthy, and Laporta should be playing week 1. Because if he doesn't get targets and he doesn't get touchdowns, he's going to put up like 5 or 6 fantasy points. If he gets a touchdown, he can put up 12 to 15 points. You know what I mean? I have Jameson in Dynasty. It's not fun trying to guess when he's going to score. When Laporta's out, he's really good. But if Laporta's playing, he's not that good. Watson, again, 33% chance he's the wide receiver one. It's either him, Golden. I think it's going to be Reed this year. Literally nothing to back it up. Just the fact that I think that it's going to be Reed. So I don't really like Watson in the 6th. Drake May in the 7th, definitely a bit of a reach on Drake May. I like Drake May. I think the potential is definitely there, but 7th round I think is a bit too early, especially for this league. Other guys got quarterbacks much later that are going to be just as productive as Drake May. Jordan Tyson, knowing that he's injured, not that good of a pick, even if he was healthy at the time of recording this video. He takes him and Olave. Unless he was planning to trade Olave or Tyson at some point, I don't see why take two players from the same team, especially wide receivers. Doesn't make sense to me. Kyle Pitts is going to be productive. He's a good tight end. I like him. Worthy and Higgins. Obviously, Higgins is out for the season. At the time, it was not a bad take as well. He could have been the wide receiver too. He could have been productive. Worthy, if Rashee Rice is out, Worthy's pretty relevant. But from what I hear, Emmett is doing pretty good in training camp and potentially could take over as the wide receiver too. So Worthy maybe isn't the best player to take here in the 10th round. He's not relevant when Rashee Rice is playing. He's irrelevant. Dalton Kincaid, I think, is a nice tight end as well. He should be pretty productive. Somebody you can plug and play and know that he's going to score. Los Angeles Rams, probably one of my favorite defenses this year. You got Myles Garrett, McDuffie. Aaron Donald might come back. They kind of keep edging us with that, not really telling us anything, but I think they're going to be really good this year. And then Davis and Tucker, again, kind of handicaps to their respectful running backs. So overall, not a bad team, but not really my favorite. Mason is going to be my number 9. Number 8, I have Thomas and Nick, the editors. I actually like their team, but I just have some questions on some players and stuff like that are here. We have CeeDee Lamb at the 111, Omarion Hampton at the 202. CeeDee Lamb, again, I don't like him in the first round. I think they should have done double running back here as well. Again, I just think CeeDee Lamb in the first round isn't that good of a value pick considering that George Pickens goes much later and he will be just as productive. But I understand the situation that they were put in. CeeDee Lamb will be productive. just not as productive as, maybe he was in the past, the 21 plus points per game that he was averaging or whatever it was. I think he's going to be around the 15 to 16 points per game range, which isn't bad. But again, I don't think it's really worth it in the first round. I like Omarion. I think Omarion has a ton of potential this year and should be really good. So he's a player that I like that they took. T. Higgins, again, if Joe Burrow is healthy and plays, T. Higgins is really good. He's a nice player to have, especially as your wide receiver too. But Joe Burrow has been dealing with injury. He hasn't been playing a lot. So that's why I'm more out on T. Higgins, because literally the last few years, Joe Burrow is out at some point and he misses time and T. Higgins becomes irrelevant. So I think third round is just a bit too early for Higgins. He's more of a fourth or fifth round player for me, but obviously that's not where he goes. Jacobs, same type of situation. You got the legal troubles as well as injuries in the past, kind of dealing with them throughout the season. If he does play, and he is playing, he's pretty productive. He averages around 15 points per game, so he's a nice running back too, but it's just a lot of questions there. Brian Thomas, is he going to be the wide receiver one? Is it going to be Parker? Is it going to be Jacoby Myers? Nobody really knows. It's going to be one of the three. My bet is Brian Thomas, but again, it's just a bit iffy there. Tyler Warren, I think, was a great value drop. I think Tyler Warren is a great tight end to take in the 6th round if you're not going to be going for a Tucker Kraft or a Pitts or something much later. So I like Tyler Warren. I think he's going to be pretty good, heavily targeted in Indianapolis. He's going to be solid. Rashad White, I think he's the true running back one over there in Washington. He is dealing with an injury, but he has the receiving upside. He's not that efficient when it comes to running the ball, but he does have the receiving upside. He could get targeted at the goal line as well. Alec Pierce, I think, was a bad take. I think Josh Downs is a true wide receiver one here, especially knowing that Alec Pierce was dealing with the injury before the draft, and now he's labeled as out completely. He's on the PUP list. Missing the preseason, I guess, isn't that important, but I also think it is a bit concerning, showing us that the injury might be a bit worse than what we think. So I think he actually might miss time going into the season as well. Maybe something has come out and something has changed since recording this video, but that is kind of my thought on Pierce. Chris Rodriguez, if Tune doesn't work out, it's a 50-50 split with Rodriguez, and he could be pretty productive, so he's not bad. Hurts and Mahomes, super elite quarterbacks, nice pairing here. Having the choice between the two of them, I think, is really nice. You have the tush push and rushing upside in Hurts, and we know who Mahomes is. He's one of the best of all time, so really nice quarterbacks there. Allen, again, really nice player. I think he has a ton of potential. He could be the wide receiver two over there in Kansas City. It's a nice little stack with Mahomes as well. So he could be productive. He's an upside shot. Pacheco and Singleton. Pacheco, if Gibbs goes down, Pacheco becomes super nice and relevant. While Gibbs is playing, Pacheco probably not that relevant. Singleton, he's a backup to the two other running backs, Tajay and Pollard. So it's a bit more up in the air if he's actually going to play at some point. And then they take Nathan Schmidt, which I think was probably the steal of the draft, getting easily like a top 5 wide receiver in the league. Currently a free agent, but hopefully he signs with the team soon. Hoping he comes over to the Cleveland Browns because we could really use him. So overall, not a bad team, but not my favorite. Next up, we have Avery. Avery was the winner 2 years ago. I like Avery. He's apparently like a millionaire or something, so he doesn't really need to win the league. And good for him because he hasn't built a winning team, in my opinion. So he takes Amon-Ra St. Brown at the 107. I like Amon-Ra. He's easily my favorite player to go in the first round. Nothing really to say about him. He's going to be good. Derrick Henry at the 206, one of the last remaining running backs with that elite upside. So I like Derrick Henry. I think he's going to be pretty good. George Pickens is my personal favorite wide receiver right now. Getting him at the 307, especially in a league this deep, I think is an absolute steal. I think George Pickens is going to be really good this year. So far, his 2 wide receivers I think are really good and definitely a great start for his team. And this is kind of where it gets a little bit iffy for me. He takes Tetairoa McMillan. I really don't like McMillan. Like, I'm going to be honest. I don't think McMillan really upgrades from what he did last year. And I think that this year, if he doesn't do well, if he doesn't do better than he did last year, that this is going to be a realization for people that McMillan really isn't that great, and he's going to start dropping in value in Dynasty as well as redraft. So I just think that being tied to Carolina isn't what you really want as a receiver. Not really much production coming out of there, as well as you're competing with Jalen Coker, who in his own right is pretty talented and pretty great to be targeted. So McMillan, not my favorite take in the 4th round. Devontae Adams, I do like. I think Devontae is going to be good, especially Puka dealing with some legal troubles of his own as well as injuries. If Puka goes down, Devontae becomes literally one of the best wide receivers available. So Devontae in the 5th round is a great take. Parker Washington, what I said before, 33% chance he's the wide receiver 1. Will he be the one? I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. Tony Pollard, I mean, it's Tony Pollard. No hate towards Tony, but he gets a ton of opportunities, doesn't do much with them. J.K. Dobbins, I think, is a nice take in the 8th round. He will be pretty productive, but he does, kind of deal with injuries as well as not really receiving upside, more of goal line touches and touchdown dependent. George Kittle was, I think, a steal here in the 9th round. I think George Kittle should be playing week 1. And when he's healthy, dude, this guy's elite. This is a crazy, crazy tight end. He's going to be really good as long as he's healthy and plays. Casey Concepcion, I love KC. I think he's a great take. He's from Cleveland. He's my personal favorite wide receiver that we have, and I think he will be productive. Trevor Lawrence, it's Trevor Lawrence. He's good. He's going to be productive. He also takes Tajay Spears. I guess in case Tony goes down, he has Tajay or something like that. Overall, not bad. He has a receiving upside, but again, it's the Titans. Brock Purdy is another quarterback I really like. Securing 2 quarterbacks I actually really like that I think could be like A-tier quarterbacks this year is really nice. Mark Andrews, if Kittle doesn't play, you have Mark Andrews, who actually will be pretty productive this year in my opinion. And the Philly defense is also pretty good. So overall, his receiving room and tight ends I really like, as well as quarterback. The running back room definitely needs some work. Even with Derrick Henry as my running back 1 is not something I'm fully comfortable with. Like, I know he's going to be good. He's going to be a running back 1. But after that, you got Tony Pollard, J.K. Dobbins. It's pretty bad. If I was him, obviously I'd try to pair up maybe like a Mark Andrews and Tedero McMillan and try to get a running back of some sort. But I'm not the expert here. That's just my opinion. So not a bad team. Definitely an improvement from the past few teams, but still not my favorite. Next up, I have the Devs. They take CMC at the 106. Obviously, if CMC stays healthy, he's a league winner. He averaged like 25 points per game last year. He was the number 1 player in fantasy football, and I still think that is going to be the same case here as long as he is healthy. They take A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, 2 wide receivers that I really like here, especially with the pairing of CMC. These guys are going to be consistent. A.J. Brown, the number 1 option in New England, especially with Kayshon Boutte being off the team now. A.J. Brown is looking even better. So he's a great player to have the 207. Devontae Smith, I think, could have a crazy breakout this year and be really productive. So him at the 306 is my wide receiver 2 is something I really like. They take Josh Allen at the 407. I'm not an advocate for early quarterback, but I think Josh Allen in the 4th round is a pretty good value drop. And him being the number 1 quarterback in fantasy is really good. So far they have a crazy lineup. Jadarian Price, really good. I think that Jaren Price in the beginning of the season is going to be a really productive running back. But the question is, what happens when Charbonnet comes back? Will he still be productive? Is it going to be split like him and Kenneth Walker? What's going to happen there? But definitely early on, it's going to be a nice player. Quentin Johnston, definitely a crazy reach here. I think Quentin, they probably could have got him in the 7th or 8th round, maybe even 9th. Probably not 9th, but definitely 8th round. They probably could have got him, but they reach on him, and I get it. Last year, he averaged 17 points per game early on, and then stuff kind of, changed. The O-line got bad. They weren't really playing as well, and he kind of fell back to earth. But he has that potential, so I kind of see why they reached on him. Him for your 3rd wide receiver or the flex is really good. RJ Harvey, I don't think he's going to be that productive this year. He has the receiving role over there on the Broncos. I don't think he's really going to do much. And even if J.K. Dobbins goes down, they draft Coleman, who I think is going to be the backup for him. Michael Wilson, definitely another 50-50. Is it going to be him or Marv? If Marv doesn't bounce back this year, I think it's over for Marv, and Michael Wilson will be the number 1 option there. But I still believe in Marv a little bit. So I'm not out on Michael Wilson, but, he's not my favorite. Chuba Hubbard, he's injured right now. Probably going to be Jonathan Brooks, running back room. He's going to be the backup, maybe a receiving role. Not a bad take. If Brooks goes down, Hubbard becomes relevant again. But while Brooks is healthy, Hubbard isn't that good. Jacoby Myers, again, 33% chance he's the wide receiver 1. Him going in the 10th round is a lot more favorable than like a Brian Thomas and Parker Washington, who are going like in the 5th and 6th. So he's not a bad player to take in the 10th with that upside potential. Tyrone Tracy, I think, is irrelevant, especially with the signing of Najee Harris, who seems to be it seems like Najee Harris is going to be implemented into this offense, which might affect Kim Scatabo. So I think Tyrone Tracy's kind of done while Najee's there and healthy. He's going to be like the 3rd option and just pretty irrelevant. Gadsden, I think Njoku's the tight end 1 over there. They're going to rely on the vet while he's on their 1-year contract. So Gadsden, I think, is irrelevant this year as well. Washington, he could be the wide receiver 1 there. We don't really know in Miami. You also have Willis as your quarterback. So is he really going to be that relevant? Nobody knows. Seahawks defense, definitely a really good defense. They're super young. They're super good. They will be productive, so they're not a bad take. And then Sadiq, I prefer over Gadsden. I think that he'll be more productive. So not a bad tight end to end off your team with. Again, pretty nice team overall. I think they're going to be pretty productive, more of the middle of the table. It's really going to come down to their running back too, as well as if CMC goes down, I don't think they really have a good option to replace him with. So there's more questions there, but I like their receivers. I like their quarterback. and their defense. They'll be a pretty decent and like okay team. Next up, I have Zuffa, another fan that entered the league, which is pretty funny because he had a ton of hate. But after this video, Rome is getting the most hate. So Zuffa takes Ja'Marr Chase at the 103. Pretty good take right here. Obviously, I think he's the third best player in fantasy this year. He takes Brock Bowers at the 210. Not something that I really like, I will be honest. I think that Brock Bowers, overall, just tight ends early on isn't what you should be doing. He could have secured himself a running back here. He could have taken another wide receiver, get himself a couple of elite wide receivers, but he goes for Bowers. Again, Bowers will be productive, so I can't really hate on it too much, especially knowing that Genty is injured now. But even before Genty was injured, he was still going to be probably the best tight end in fantasy. So him at the 210 is not bad. Rashee Rice at the 303, I like. I think he's going to be pretty good. He will be productive. I personally would have gone maybe running back here, like a Javonte Williams, maybe a Kyron Williams or something like that to secure myself an elite running back while they're available. But he goes for double wide receiver, tight end. Not a bad start because they are going to be productive, but definitely not the best start. He takes Monty and Henderson as his running backs. I like Monty. I think he's going to be pretty good this year, pretty relevant. I do not like Henderson. I think while Ramondre is there, Henderson won't really be that productive. Maybe towards the end of the season, he becomes a bit more relevant. Ramondre goes down. Henderson kind of becomes productive, but I think him as my running back too is definitely a minus and not something I really like. He takes Joe Burrow as his quarterback at the 6'10". I don't like Joe Burrow. Again, he deals with the injuries, especially recently. He has no rushing upside. Obviously, he has the ability to throw the ball. He's really good, but that's pretty much it. And if he goes down, it's kind of tough. I would have taken running back or wide receiver in the 6th round. Chris Godwin. I really like Godwin. I think that he could be the wide receiver 1, so I think this is a good take. Blake Corum, Dowdle, and Mitchell. I actually like Corum and Dowdle. I think that they have the touchdown upside. It's kind of funny because both of them are in similar situations, just different quality teams. You have Blake Corum and Kyron. Kyron has the receiving upside. He'll be getting receiving targets and stuff like that, but Corum will be getting the goal line touches, especially knowing that they are going to be 50-50. It's pretty much confirmed that they're going to be splitting 50-50. Rico Dowdle, same thing with Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren is a receiving back. He's going to be getting those receptions. Rico Dowdle probably goal line and touchdown opportunities. So definitely players you can flex, preferably Corum, but if you need to, Rico Dowdle. Mitchell, back up to Omarion Hampton. I think that he might get involved a bit, but Omarion's going to be the true RB1 there. Coker, Wicks, and Bryant. I like Coker. Again, I don't really like Tet. I think Coker's a better player to take in the 11th. Probably going to be similar production to Tet this year. Maybe it's a crazy take, but I think that's going to be the case. Wicks, hearing a ton of hype about him. Jalen Hurts really likes him. He's saying that he's a really good player. Maybe he will be the wide receiver 2 over there in Philly, especially with Lemon dealing with his injury. Maybe Wicks is going to be a wide receiver 2. I like this take here, the 12. Pat Bryant, I think he's irrelevant. I don't think he's going to be really productive, so not a player that I like there. Texans defense, I think it's the best defense in the league this year, so taking them in the 14th, no-brainer. And then Hill, nice little backup to Derrick Henry. If Derrick Henry goes down as well as the receiving upside, Hill is going to be productive. So overall, pretty decent team, all around okay. Running back room definitely could improve a little bit. I would have gone again with maybe a wide receiver earlier than a Bowers, but he has the best tight end in the league. He has pretty good wide receivers as long as Rashee Rice doesn't go down, and overall, pretty decent. Next up, I have Zach. Zach actually has a really good start, but his team has more questions, in my opinion, than the others' team. So you have James Cook and Saquon Barkley. I think this is probably the best running back start that we see. James Cook, super consistent, super reliable, going to be productive. Saquon Barkley, if he can bounce back at least somewhat to what he was doing 2 years ago, this pairing of running backs is going to be super, super, super elite. I really like it. Zay Flowers, nice floor receiver, has a ton of upside with Lamar Jackson. As long as Lamar is healthy, Zay should be averaging like 15 points per game plus. If Lamar goes down, he'll be around the 10 points per game, but still not the worst. Bucky Irving, this is pretty much where the team starts to get a bit more questionable for me. Bucky Irving, will he be the running back 1 in Tampa Bay? How much will Kenneth Gainwell eat into his role? Kenneth Gainwell is a super efficient receiving back. That's kind of what Bucky's been doing over there. Sean Tucker as well stays on the team. Will he be getting goal line touches? Bucky probably is going to get a reduced role, but Bucky is also more efficient with the reduced role. So maybe this benefits Bucky. It's too much up in the air. 4th round, I probably would have gone with a different wide receiver instead of Bucky, but he goes Bucky. It's just my guy. Luther Burden, I think Rome Odunze is the wide receiver 1. Doesn't mean Luther Burden won't be relevant, but I don't think that he was worth kind of the 509. Maybe a different wide receiver here would have been more justifiable. Just in case if Rome is the true wide receiver 1 there, Luther will probably be more of a flex play. But again, it's 50-50. One of the two is going to be more productive. DJ Moore theoretically should be productive, but like looking at the Bills in the last few years, there hasn't really been a wide receiver one there. Shakir, Coleman, whoever else they have had haven't been super fantasy relevant. I guess for your flex, it's not bad, but not really the best player. I mean, he could have, some potential. He could be pretty productive, but not my favorite take. Rhamondre Stevenson, while he's playing, he's going to be relevant, so I think it's not bad, but I do expect at some point Travion to take over. Is that going to happen this year? Maybe not, so maybe Rhamondre is not a bad take, but he's going to be okay. He's going to depend on a touchdown, of course, but he's probably still going to get those possessions. They seem to like him in New England, so he's not a bad take. Jordan Addison, I think, wasn't a good take. Like I've said, I'm out on Justin Jefferson. I don't really think Jordan Addison is going to be relevant either, unless maybe just Kyler kind of favors him or something and he just becomes the wide receiver one there, but I doubt that. So Jordan Addison, I think, is going to be pretty irrelevant this year. Not my favorite take. Harold Fannin at the 909, I like. Again, as a Cleveland fan, as a fantasy fan, I know that Fannin is pretty productive. So him at the 9th round is not a bad take. I think he's going to be pretty good for the tight end position. Dak Prescott as his quarterback. Again, if Dak continues to sling the ball as much as he did last year, this is going to be a good take. I still think that the Cowboys defense needs improvement, so they probably will be down in games and throwing the ball. So Dak will be productive. So pretty good take in the 10th round. Douglas, he's looking like the number one option in Miami right now from what we hear. Maybe he will be. If not, it's a bit tough. But overall, it's like a 50-50 shot. Charbonnet, when he comes back, I don't know. I really don't know what to say about Charbonnet and Price, what's going to happen there. But he probably will be having a role when he comes back. Jaguars defense, they're going to be pretty good. They're a nice take in the 13th round. Likely candidate for the tight end breakout. Will he be actually productive? Should be. They signed him on a pretty good contract. They seem to like him, so I think he's going to be pretty relevant. And then Dylan Sampson, nice little handicap for Judkins, who does deal a bit with injuries as well as the receiving role in Cleveland. So Sampson could be a nice little sneaky take here in the 15th round. So overall, I think this is a pretty good team. I really like the running back room, especially Cook and Barkley. The receivers should be good. They should be consistent, but I think it's just a bit more questionable. Will they actually be good and will they actually be consistent? Because if Lamar goes down, Flowers isn't good. If Burden isn't the wide receiver one there, he's not going to be as good. DJ Moore should be productive, but maybe he won't be. It's like more questionable than insurance over there in the receiving room, but the running back room I really like, and I think is going to be pretty good. So Zach is going to be my 4th favorite team. Now to the top 3, we have at number 3, Nathan Schmidt, the free agent wide receiver. Nathan actually has a really good team, and I probably could have bumped him up even more. I really like his team, if I'm being honest. He takes Chase Brown, Devon Achane. I think that these are two running backs that complement each other really well. And if Joe Burrow goes down, Joe Flacco plays, Chase Brown is still going to be super relevant. Around 17 points per game, super high ceiling, could be very productive. Devon Achane, even though Miami's in a terrible state right now, I still think that he has a floor of like around 14, 15 points per game. Get him a touchdown, he can easily be putting up 20 plus. This is an elite running back duo. 2nd in the league. I think that James Cook and Saquon is a bit better. Literally just a little bit better. But this is definitely an elite pairing in running back. I really like them. I think they're going to be good. Ladd McConkey in the 310 I really like as well. I think Ladd is going to be the wide receiver one over there on the Chargers. You got a new offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel, healthy O-line. Chargers are looking really scary this year. I think Ladd is going to be a benefactor of that. He's going to be really good. Cam Scotabo, I liked him at first, but now knowing that Najee Harris is signed, definitely a bit more iffy on him. How much production is Najee going to have in him? But at the time, I think this is a really good take as well. We know how Cam can play. He can be really good, but he's also super crazy. He can get injured and do something dumb. Rome Odunze, Marvin Harrison. Again, I love Rome. I think he's going to be the wide receiver one of the Bears. Marvin Harrison, hoping for a year 3 bounce back, or is it year 4 now? But hopefully he bounces back. And if he hits, this wide receiver room is looking really, really good in Ladd, Odunze, and Marvin Harrison. This is easily a 15 points per game wide receiver room with a ceiling of like 25 plus on good weeks, obviously. Mekhi Lemon dealing with the injury. But if he is as good as people say he is, and he does get healthy, I think he's going to be a good player. He should be pretty productive. Tucker Kraft, he's my favorite tight end to draft, especially in the late rounds. I think he's a top 4 tight end. Probably could finish as a top 3 tight end. So him in the 8th round is a no-brainer for me. Aaron Jones, don't really like Aaron Jones. I prefer Jordan Mason. So Aaron Jones isn't really somebody I care too much for. He's a bit older. He also wasn't that productive last year. He dealt with injury. I kind of expect the same from this year. Not really that productive. And if he gets injured, Jordan James is going to be the number one option. I like Deebo Samuel in the 10th. If Mike Evans goes down, Deebo's the number one option over there in San Francisco. I think he's going to be pretty good. Tyler Algier, great backup. I think that Jeremiah Love dealing with injury as well as goal line touches. Tyler Algier will be getting those. He's going to be pretty productive. So I think he's a nice little handicap. Kamara, currently injured, not going to be playing. Obviously, at the time, he wasn't injured, but I don't think Kamara is going to be relevant anymore. Jared Goff, not the best quarterback. Definitely more of a streaming service quarterback, in my opinion, but a higher end one of that. You can definitely play him and know he'll get you around 15 points per game plus. But if he doesn't throw any touchdowns and say Jahmyr Gibbs runs them all in or something, he's going to be like around 10 points. So Goff isn't that bad. It's a high-powered offense. He's going to be a decent quarterback. Kelsey, I think, was a steal here in the 14th round. Even though he's old, I still think he's the only really receiving option over there on the Chiefs with Rashee Rice. So I like Kelsey in the 14th, and then Wright for the handicap of Achane. So pretty good team. I like this team. It's solid all around. Definitely a top 3 team in my opinion. At number 2, I have Corey from FSE. He built a really good team. I really like this team here. He has Puka Nacua, Nico Collins, as well as Garrett Wilson. I think that this is one of the best wide receiver rooms out there. Puka Nacua, if he's healthy and plays, is going to be the wide receiver 1. Nico Collins, especially with Jaden Higgins being out now, is definitely the best player available on this team. He's going to be targeted heavily. They get Kayshon Boutte again, but still, I think that Nico Collins is going to be the clear number 1 option. He should be averaging 16 points per game plus. Garrett Wilson is a name that not a lot of people talk about. They kind of sleep on him because it's the Jets offense, but I think with the addition of Omar Cooper and Sadiq, it opens up the field a lot more for him. He's going to be targeted heavily. He's going to be getting possessions. I think he has a floor of like 13, 14 points per game. He gets a touchdown. He's easily in the 20 plus. I really like this wide receiver room. I think it's one of the best. He takes Kyren Williams at the 304. Again, Kyren's going to be productive, but I just don't really like the pairing of Puka and Kyren. If they have a bad week, this team isn't going to be as productive, but it's easily the best team in the NFL right now, so they should be productive no matter what. Judkins, I think, is going to be solid. Definitely more dependent on the touchdown, but I think they will be getting him closer to the goal line this year. Michael Pittman, he could be the wide receiver 1 over there on the Steelers. Not 100% sure, but definitely a good guy to bank on. He had a really good season last year. He was really productive on the Colts before Daniel Jones got injured, so Pittman could definitely be pretty relevant and pretty good. I think Laporta is one of the top tight ends in the league, so him in the 7th round is a really good take. Monangai and Gainwell, I don't really care about Monangai. I think DeAndre Swift is the running back 1 there. DeAndre Swift does deal with injury a little bit as well. Not as often, but he does get injured. If he does, Monangai will be the number 1 option there, and he will be productive. It's a high-powered offense, but while DeAndre Swift plays, he won't really be that productive. Kenneth Gainwell, again, how much is he going to eat into Bucky's play? He is a really efficient receiving back. He could be very productive, but again, it's more up in the air. Herbert is my favorite quarterback to go in the later rounds. I think Herbert's going to be super productive and super fantasy relevant this year, so I really like him here in the 10th round. I think that's an absolute steal for where he goes. Denzel Boston could be the wide receiver 1. I prefer Casey Concepcion, but Denzel Boston could definitely be relevant in Cleveland. Again, it's just not a super high-powered offense, but if he does play, he is going to be good. Johnson, kind of like a handicap to Kenneth Walker. If something happens, Johnson will play. Kenneth Walker actually does have a bit of a history with injuries, so maybe Johnson will get some involvement. Bo Nix, another really good quarterback that should be pretty productive. Nice little kind of player to hold on to. Maybe you can trade him or something like that. Cameron Dicker, probably one of the top 3 kickers in the league. He's super good. He's going to be productive. And then Allen, again, 3rd option in Washington, I think. It's either going to be him, Ja'Cory Cross-Camara, Rachaad White. I still think it's going to be Rachaad White's offense, but I guess he's a nice player to kind of hold on to just in case. And then the number 1 team this year, in my opinion, and that is going to be Jinxie. I think Jinxie all around has a really good team with a nice floor as well as a ton of upside. We have Jackson Smith-Njigba and Drake London as his 2 wide receivers. I think that these are going to be 2 wide receivers that are super productive and super fantasy relevant. They will be really good and really solid. Jason, again, a lot of people expecting some sort of regression, but I still think that he's going to be averaging easily 17 points per game plus, as well as Drake London. Like Drake London, if he had a better quarterback, if he was on a better team, Drake London would be a top 5 wide receiver easily. But because of the situation, it's not the best, but he's still getting a ton of volume. Super talented. He's a big receiver. He's going to be catching the ball, targeted at the goal line as well. I think this is a really good wide receiver room. I don't think it's the best, but it's definitely really solid for his starters. Javonte Williams, I really like. Super consistent. is going to be reliable. He's going to average 15 points per game plus. Get him a touchdown or two, it'll be even more. He's a really good player in the third round. I really like him as a running back one. Bashal Tutin, if he is the true running back one in Jacksonville, he's going to be really solid as well, maybe even outproducing Javonte. He's taking a risk on him, but I think this is a pretty good risk. I think that Tutin really could be productive from what I've seen recently. Lamar Jackson could easily compete with Josh Allen, number one quarterback spot. I think Lamar could be super productive and really good. Having one of the top quarterbacks on your team is solid. He takes Jonathan Brooks, who currently I think will be the running back one in Charlotte. He's easily shooting up ADPs. Chuba Hubbard is injured. Jonathan Brooks is taking over. If he is productive, again, 15 plus points per game from your running back. Josh Downs, Stephon Diggs, Matthew Golden, all really good players. I love Josh Downs. I think he's going to be the wide receiver one over there on the Colts. Stephon Diggs, he's relevant. It's more of definitely a big name, but he's going on a team that he should be pretty productive. If Terry McLaurin isn't doing too well, Diggs can take over. I think Diggs is a great take in the 8th round. Matthew Golden easily could compete for the wide receiver one position in Green Bay. He was their number one pick last year. Maybe they'll implement him a little more, especially after getting rid of Romeo Doubs, getting rid of Wicks. I definitely see Golden taking over as the wide receiver one. I prefer Reed again, but still a really good upside shot. Tank Bigsby, he's a great backup to Saquon Barkley. If Saquon goes down, again, Saquon is a bit older, still not that old, but he's a bit older. Bigsby will take over and will be productive and will be efficient. We saw a little bit of that at the end of the season last year when he took over. He dropped like 19 fantasy points. Woody Marks, receiving role in Houston. If Monty goes down, who is also older, Woody Marks will be the running back one there. He will be pretty productive. Dallas Goedert, 12th round, really good tight end. He's super productive. They target him pretty good amounts. He will be relevant. Broncos defense, probably up there with the Texans. It's the number one defense in the league. They're going to be really good. They can easily win you weeks as well. Allen and Connor. I think Connor was more of just like a last-second take. Connor, I think, will be nice if he gets traded to a team that needs a running back. Allen is just more of a backup to Brees. If Brees goes down, Allen will be relevant. So I think Jinxie overall has a really good team. It definitely more dependent on the upside, but I like his wide receiver room where they're at. They're looking really solid, especially with Downs, Diggs, and Golden. I think those are great players, especially with Jackson Smith and Drake London. Javonte Williams, I think, is a really good running back. Again, he's more of a low-end running back one, but he's going to be a consistent running back one that will be productive. Tutin, if he does hit, he's going to be really good. Same thing with Brooks. I think Brooks is going to hit. I think he's going to be the running back one. So him as the running back two or the running back one in his team is already pretty solidified. You're one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You're one of the best defenses in the league. Overall, Jinxie's team is looking really good. Pretty surprising, if I'm being honest. I didn't think that they, first of all, would get Jinxie into the league and he would build one of the best teams. But yeah, that's pretty much my breakdown of all these teams. A bit of a longer video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was pretty fun for me to kind of go through. Again, I'm doing this all off the top of my head. I don't have any notes. If I'm looking around, I'm literally just looking at the wall as I'm thinking. But so if I said something that didn't make sense or like, whoa, this is a bad take. Again, I'm more of a casual. I do this for fun. I love fantasy football. I love playing it. It's super fun. And I thought it'd be super fun to go through and talk about this league. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe I'll post more videos kind of breaking down different leagues and stuff like that as I see them. I also want to go through and talk about my leagues and my teams and stuff like that. I think it'd be pretty fun. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 100 subs if we haven't hit it yet. I really appreciate it. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. And I will see you guys in the next one.